All right, you guys, I'm going to show you what the test format is and go through the concepts that you should really be focusing on. This is found on the front page of Live Binders. You can just click on the link to open it up. I have it here. The test format, there are 10 multiple choice questions, and then there are 5 free response questions, but they have lots of multiple parts. For example, 5 A, B, C, C1, C2, C3. Okay, practice, practice. That's how you can get to be able to do these quickly. It will take the whole block period, so make sure you know what you're doing before you come to take the test. And the concepts. Understand the general concept of the equilibrium constant. What does it mean and how can it change? For example, it basically indicates the relative amounts of products and reactants, and we can tell if a reaction favors products or reactants by the value of K, by the magnitude of K. How can it change? Hopefully you know the only way it can change is by changing the temperature. You need to be able to compare Q and K and understand their relationship. For example, if Q is greater than K, there are too many products and the reaction needs to go in reverse. Understand that for an ice table, that means that you'll have the negative X under the product side and the positive X's under the reactant side. You should be able to apply Hess's law concepts to equations and then manipulate K accordingly. For example, if you add 2 equations together, you multiply their K values. If you double a reaction, if you multiply it by 2, you have to square the K value. Okay, you need to be able to convert between Kc and Kp for gaseous reactions. Remember to look at the number of moles of gas, products minus reactants to get delta N. You need to be able to calculate Kc, Kp, and Q, okay, from an ice table or if you're given initial concentrations, etc. Apply Le Chatelier's principle with respect to concentrations. If you add more reactant or add more product, which way does it shift? With respect to pressure, if there are gases and you increase the pressure, which way does it shift? It should shift towards fewer gas molecules. And temperature, which way does it shift if you heat it up? That depends on if it's exothermic or endothermic, so review that. And volume changes. Basically, a volume change will create a pressure change. So if you decrease the volume, the pressure goes up. So then you can consider the pressures. Understand and apply the meaning of KSP and solubility. Understand that solubility refers to how much of an insoluble ionic compound can dissolve. Okay, it's the X, how much dissolves. It's the X in the ice table. Calculate KSP, solubility, and ion concentrations. Okay, so that's filling in the ice table. If you're given KSP, you should be able to find X, the solubility, and vice versa. Apply the concept of common ions to solubility. We did that 2 days ago in class. So if you're trying to dissolve silver chromate, but there's already some silver nitrate in there, your initial concentration of silver is not 0. Use ice tables to determine the values of concentrations in K, so make sure you understand your ice tables. Understand and apply the relationship between changes in the value of K and endothermic versus exothermic reactions. So we've talked about that a lot. Figure out which side the energy is on if it's not given, and that will determine how K changes as you change the temperature. Understand and apply the concepts from the Equilibrium Constant lab. That's the lab with all those serial dilutions, sample A, B, C, etc., test tubes 1, 2, 3, etc. Go back and review that. Part 13 here says, understand and apply the relationship between Beer's law and that lab. And you're saying, Beer's law? How is that relative? Beer's law says that concentration is proportional. I'm sorry, you're saying how is that relevant? Beer's law is proportional, concentration is proportional to absorbance. That was the fundamental part of the lab, making that graph, the straight line graph showing absorbance and concentration relationships. That allowed you to measure the absorbance of an unknown solution and determine its concentration. So that's how Beer's law applied. Make sure you know how you did that lab and you could explain how you did it. And that's what the test is about. Good luck.